everyone, welcome to Breaking Buttons episode 3. Today is Saturday, May 6th, 2017. My name is Devon Keys.
And I'm Justin Keys.
And we are discussing the game Batman Arkham Asylum.
Yep, love that game.
It is a seriously dope game. It's one of the it's the first game that I've played that has that kind of a crazy beat 'em up battle mechanic.
Yeah.
In a 3D environment. I know God of War was supposed to be something like it.
Well, that free flow thing, from what I've heard, was supposed to be something unique completely new. Yeah, unique to Batman. Until then other games start to copy like stuff out of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like there's another game that a lot of people said was really good, Shadow Mordor, and that is a good game.
Do they have the same kind of battle mechanics?
It's the same kind of free flow battle. It's almost exactly like Batman, except it feels clunky. I've never played that game. It feels clunky. How does it feel clunky? It just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel the same. It's not as clean, not as refined or polished, or something about it is off. What's also funny is that they have the same detective mode sort of thing, but a lot of games are getting that too. Like Tomb Raider has that.
Yeah,
it's like
it's
the same button too.
It's kind of funny when you play. It's pretty much the entire game of Batman is played in detective mode. It sucks because they have really nice art in that game.
Yeah, I like to play with it. I only like to toggle it on for certain things. I don't like to keep it on.
So Batman Arkham Asylum came out in August 25th, 2009 by Rocksteady.
Yeah, Rocksteady.
And got a 10 out of 10 on Steam. 9 out of 10 on GameSpot, 9.3 out of IGN.
Who cares what those people think? It's what we think, right?
They think what?
It's what we think, not what they think.
Yeah.
I remember seeing commercials for that game. In fact, more specifically, I remember seeing commercials for DLC for that game.
Right.
It's doing the knee bones connected to or something, whatever, and he's beating up a bunch of skeletons. It's for Scarecrow's stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I remember seeing a lot of commercials for this game, and they it looked a lot like the I think the action figures that came out at the time. The for me, this completely reinvented Batman, at least as I knew him, because the way I knew Batman, was 2009, so it was at the same. Dark Knight was already out.
Dark Knight, maybe. I think. I don't know. I know. Batman Begins was. But
So they had already sort of reinvented Batman. Dark Knight came out 2008.
Okay, yeah. But what was cool about the game is that, for us, it was kind of like a new rendition of him.
Exactly.
But it's actually a really true rendition of him as well.
For the comics?
Yeah. You know, his cowl has got... It covers over his entire head and over his neck to his shoulders. Uh-huh. So he can't turn his neck.
Right.
He has to turn like his shoulders.
That was actually, that was pretty cool how they animated him that way.
Yeah. And when you just walk around as him, it feels good.
It does. It really does.
The camera is perfect. And
this game hits so many good spots. So many.
Yeah.
So let's talk about it from the beginning. The
beginning's amazing.
The beginning is amazing.
Perfect, a really good intro. There's like a 10-second cutscene, and then it goes into endgame. And then I don't remember how long the actual intro takes, but it was kind of lengthy, but it feels good, especially the first time.
It really did.
It sets up the whole thing, and just kind of goes hog wild from there.
What was I'm trying to remember. What was the intro about? Was it the one where you're walking with the Joker?
Yeah, you just captured Joker, or Batman did, and then you take on Batman's persona. Joker is strapped to that chair, and they're wheeling him through. Right.
And he's talking directly to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was really, really cool. This kind of, I think it's a trend with video games now since Half-Life 2, not Half-Life 2, Half-Life, the first one, where we have cinematics happening at the same time gameplay's happening.
Yeah.
I really didn't like it when Asylum cut into the cinematics separately.
Yeah.
They rarely did it, but they did do it.
Right. It's probably my least favorite parts of the game. It's because it kind of just makes a jump. It's like bam, and then it's obviously like move. It's kind of like in Final Fantasy, like Final Fantasy VII, where like when it's gameplay and when it's a cutscene.
Right. I remember when Final Fantasy. We're not talking about Final Fantasy. But I remember when the commercials were out and everyone was seeing the cinematics. Like, oh,
yeah, look at those graphics.
Graphics. Yeah.
Those aren't the graphics.
Pre-rendered. Yes.
A lot of what I've learned about Batman as a series actually came from Arkham Asylum from reading all the archives.
Right, me too. I actually didn't know Batman a whole lot when I got into it, except for the movie. Rarely, I didn't read any of the comics.
I know who Batman was,
right,
and just based on that, he was my favorite.
Yeah. This really made him back into a badass, in my mind.
Yeah, puts it in perspective of what he's supposed to be.
Right.
I think like everything about that game, I feel like they nailed. Like,
yeah.
I felt like they made exactly the game they wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Although if you ask them, they might disagree. It's like, oh man, I probably really wanted to have this, but
Yeah, they probably wanted a whole lot more in there. So I played this on PC.
I did too.
For the first time. Oh, you did?
Yeah, I played it briefly on Xbox for at someone's house, and then I got it on PC.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah.
But it wasn't anywhere near its release. It was it was probably just a year before Arkham City came out for me.
Yeah, I played it way afterwards too. But I really had to experience it, and it's by far one of the best games I've played, like just ever.
Yeah, it's really good. I'd probably put that on my top 10 list as well. The sequels were good too. Like at first, like when I went to pick up Arkham City, I was like, there's no way you can how can you top Arkham Asylum? And City was, I think the key to City's success was that it was different.
Yeah.
Same basic mechanics and stuff, but they gave you a different way to explore and different things, more gadgets to play with.
Right.
So I thought City was really good. I know you haven't played City, right?
Right. Yeah, I haven't played it at all.
Yeah.
Well, how was the scope for that game? Because like I know a lot of people were talking about when they go from Asylum to City, then they have to grow more and more and more Arkham universe.
Yeah. So the map sizes, of course, like they cut off this whole area of the city of Gotham to be a prison.
Kind of like a prison thing.
Yeah, like some of those 80s movies where Manhattan, the island of Manhattan's now a prison. Yeah, it's that sort of thing. So it's actually really good because you get more freedom. In Asylum, you had a lot of freedom, but as things started happening, you started getting cut off from certain areas of the map where they were different or something. So there was just a lot more freedom, which I'm not saying is good. It's just neutral, because Asylum, the way that they handled it, I thought was perfect. And then so City was great, but I didn't buy Arkham Asylum or City at full price. It had already been out for a bit, so I got Game of the Year both on sale on Steam, of course. But that made me purchase Arkham Origins immediately when it came out, and that was big disappointment. That wasn't it wasn't done by Rocksteady, and they ended up. It was a prequel. But you had just as many. You actually had more gadgets in that game than you did in City, and some of them were repeats. Like there's a certain gadget in City that's pretty much just reskinned in Origins.
Oh, really?
And I was like, why does he have this? How can he have more than what he had in Asylum?
It's like the Star Wars thing where there's like more technology in the
past.
In the past.
Yeah. So. That I didn't like that aspect about it, but I can understand that because game. It's a even though it's a prequel
or something to catch on.
Right, but what I really didn't like is they redesigned like all of the villains.
Yeah,
Joker looks different. Killer Croc looks way different.
Really?
Like he looks completely different.
In Arkham Origins.
Yeah, Bane looks way different too. So that was really. That upset me. The whole game felt like a different game. It had the same combat thing. It was just like, oh yeah, like you said, how do you escalate. It just kind of more and more. The map size is even bigger again.
Is that what happened?
But then you get lost and things are just spread out more. So I wasn't a fan of Origins, actually.
Croc looks, I'm looking at him now. He looks actually more or less the same.
Are you sure? So.
Oh, no, I guess not.
Yeah, one in Origins, he's huge.
Yeah.
In, or not in Origins, in Asylum, he's huge. In Origins, he's just a little bit bigger than you, and I think he looks more like an actual crocodile.
And I remember the gameplay in that aspect in Asylum. It scared the crap out of me. Playing the fight with Krog, or like hide and go seek basically with Krog.
Yeah.
Where you're just like you're in the sewer, and then suddenly it starts chasing you. Like, oh god.
Yeah, it was really that was really great. I really enjoyed that. My wife handed me the controller and be like, "You do it."
What was really cool about Arkham Asylum was that they have. I think one of the things that really made you feel like Batman, I remember a lot of people complimented the feel of the game, the kinesthetics, if you will, about how you really felt empowered, like you were actually him. And I thought some of the mechanics that really helped that, besides just the amazing battling mechanic, was the way you got to bad guys by basically hiding in the dark and then like sneaking up on them and like building up their fear, because that's really what Batman is all about, is becoming fear.
Yeah.
And becoming the one that everyone's going, oh, where is he?
Yeah.
Type of thing, and then shooting into the air because you're so fearful, and then striking. It's so cool.
Yeah.
Really feels good in your hands.
Yeah, I guess just to go back a little bit, I guess Killer Croc doesn't look quite as different as I thought, but still a little bit different.
He looks a little different.
Joker looks a little bit different too.
He looks like he has skinnier pants on.
Yeah, he didn't seem as big, that's for sure. But it's been a while. But yeah, the feeling of all the thugs are afraid of you and they're freaking out and trembling, and you get to see their heart rates go up.
Right.
It's amazing.
And that makes them. I think it makes them more vulnerable, right? Because
I think so.
I really don't remember the fear mechanic, but but man, yeah, really cool. How you felt like you were the one who was in power,
right? Right.
In like a bunch of different games, just every game in general, really. The bad guys in your game, or the opposition that you're trying to go against, excuse me, is they always feel more powerful, and you feel like a hero because you're beating these more powerful villains. Other than games like 007, for instance, when you're still a pretty badass guy who's going through, and you are a bullet sponge of sorts, and kill a bunch of these lower level guys. But Batman Arkham Asylum, even though they were tough enemies, but you didn't get fear from them.
Right.
When you went across from them.
It's more like the bosses were...
Right. Yeah, the bosses were a little bit bigger, which we can talk about some of the bosses, by the way.
Yeah.
Some of the good stuff and some of the bad stuff.
I mean, also on the thugs, like, they only oppose you because they kind of feel like they don't have to. They add some context on there.
Yeah.
When there's Joker is talking to one of them, and he's like threatening his family. He's like, "I'll break your wife's legs," or something like that.
Right.
Or,
yeah, they kind of give the thugs, their own context to fight.
Yeah.
Which is pretty great.
Yeah.
And how great of a villain is Joker in that game?
Right. Yeah. And voiced by Mark Hamill, right?
Mark Hamill. Yeah.
Man, he's amazing at voices.
He's really good.
I mean, it's too bad it kind of hinders his health, but amazing. Like his Joker voice is perfect. Like I haven't seen a better Joker voice than his.
Oh no.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
The whole persona of Joker, that's what was built up in Asylum, is kind of what I identify the Joker with now. So
yeah, I really enjoyed having him as the main villain, just because it.
For one, it makes sense. You expect it to be Joker.
Right. Having the whole thing that, having the whole game existed in Asylum where everything's insane already, having a more insane type of opposition, which is really cool. Some of the mini bosses and stuff like that was one thing that was
choppy or slowed down the game a little bit.
It slowed down a little bit. I want to talk about the final boss. We can talk about that maybe later.
I was gonna say that too.
You want to just talk about the final boss?
Yeah, sure. The final boss wasn't. I don't know. I was almost slightly disappointed.
I was very disappointed.
I mean, I was like kind of disappointed, but I'm like, I guess it was very odd. Let's just say it was weird.
Yeah, it was odd. I liked how they introduced it, but then when Joker himself came out, and he's like, "Oh, now I'm the big tough guy."
Yeah,
it like.
I guess he's crazy.
Yeah. I guess it fit his character, sort of to be like, I'm so nuts that I'm just gonna inject myself with this, and now I'm insane. But the fact that he wants to beat up Batman is just stupid. I feel like he went down a tier. Like, Joker is just such a mind fucker.
Yeah, he wants to just toy with you.
Right. That it brings him down a tier when he's turned into just some thug. Some big ass thug.
Yeah. I think he said something like, if it's time for their fight to get death, or let's give them a show or whatever.
Yeah.
For the entertainment of others. I mean, Joker doesn't care about anyone else. I mean, he doesn't even really care for Harley Quinn. His most loyal follower.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Harley Quinn was here.
And I like that they had those little session tapes. With all the villains, including Harley's, where she was interviewing.
Right.
So.
Yeah, those were cool. Doing like the, I hate to take the BioShock way, but that's the first way I thought about it, was where you learn about the character histories by going through the tapes and stuff.
Yeah, I liked the Scarecrow ones too.
Oh man, that was so cool. So that was one of the mechanics that I really, really enjoyed, was how they brought Scarecrow's character into the game.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So this is one of my biggest gripes with games is that when you're trying to put an emotion into the game, they usually put emotion into the game and not into the player.
Yeah.
And
like, you're basically by the character expressing some lines and being angry.
Right. Like it could have been so easy, and I'm sure this is what most other Batman games have done, but it could have been so easy to overlook this kind of thing and make Batman the kind of, hardcore, I'm a badass guy, without the player feeling like it. Right. The player just feeling like, well, this is just another video game. But the way they put, what's his name? What were we talking about? Scarecrow.
Yeah.
The way they put his character into there was like to really screw with the player's perception of things. Yeah. And that's so great when they say like stuff like, or this isn't the Scarecrow, but just for example, use the middle stick to dodge the bullet. I mean, that's so great. One of the things where the player is temporarily in control of Batman when he was younger, and you have to walk by your dead parents.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's super, super cool. I mean, that's something that's all about the player and nothing about, like, you're telling the player the story. You're not just showing them a movie.
Right.
Yeah. That's stuff I love.
It's good stuff. It was really good.
And that just makes it super great.
Yeah. It's nice that they had these different, like, the whole game wasn't the same. It wasn't like eating the same snack over and over.
Right. Right, exactly.
You had your beat 'em up moments, free flow combat, which is amazing. I really like the way that feels.
Oh yeah.
And then you have the predatorial ones, which are just as big as a thing. Which I love how many different angles you can approach that.
Right.
It's kind of like the freedom of Breath of the Wild, almost, in a little miniature room.
Right. Right. Well, it had a very Zelda-esque feeling to it, because Zelda has the battle and then the puzzle and then the blah blah blah, the explorer. And
it was kind of like mixing the two together. It's like battle puzzle thing to get in one.
Right. And so that's what Batman had, was these sectioned themes that were just really melded together really nicely.
Yeah, and they also had the Scarecrow sequences, which felt kind of special, and another different way of battling.
Yeah.
It was also nice that how they changed the predatorial things to give you challenges, like. It's not just like a room and you could just leap from gargoyle to gargoyle every time.
Right.
It's like there's something new to kind of make it harder, or make you not necessarily make it harder, but to rethink how you're going to approach and take everyone out.
Yeah, really, really good stuff. So yeah, that's kissing up to Batman.
Yep. Oh, and damage. Like, as you progress through the game and you get hit more, you start to get like tears and rips in your costume.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And that just stays with you throughout the game. It's great. I've never actually tried to see if I could go through the game, not get hit, and see if I still have a beautiful costume at the end.
Yeah. That is a really cool thing. Let's talk about some of our gripes with the game.
There's not a lot, but there's some.
Yeah, there's not a lot, right? Which is really cool.
Like we said, the ending, we were a little disappointed about that.
It was kind of an easy target.
Yeah.
I really wonder. I haven't read too much on it, but I really wonder what their intent was with the ending of the game. Because, I mean, to think that you could have a Scarecrow character who's all about screwing with the person's mind, to really screw with Batman's mind means to screw with the player. I thought that was cool how they interpreted that, and for some reason they just didn't interpret Joker's playfulness all the way through the end. I mean, I guess there was, because the end sequence of, or the whole fighting a bunch of thugs and then fighting more thugs and then fighting the Joker it didn't feel so video gamey as much as it felt like a funny thing that Joker was doing to you.
Yeah,
it sucked.
Well, I mean, maybe it does fit his character a little bit more. I mean, for one, the game had to end somehow, right? And another is Joker always got mad when you got somewhere quicker than what he wanted you to, which is all the time.
Right.
And he's like, you're ruining everything. And the Joker's really smart. He must know that Batman's going to get through most of these. There's some of them where he thought that he finally had him, and you're not going to get past this.
Yeah.
But he usually doesn't expose himself to that risk. So maybe he figured that he'd eventually get caught and catch up with them, and the only way for him to stand any chance is to do what he did. So, I don't know.
If you got to do it yourself.
Yeah. Oh, Riddler trophies. We didn't touch on those at all. How'd you feel about those?
How'd you feel about those?
Personally, I kind of like having something to collect in games where it's doesn't feel like a collect-a-thon sort of thing.
Yeah. It's like a bonus.
Yeah, it's bonus, optional. And if you do it, there's some sort of story satisfaction to it.
Yeah.
So I actually like the Riddler trophies because it's a miniature optional puzzle on the side.
Right.
Sometimes it's just finding the thing. So if you're exploring enough, you'll find them.
Yeah.
You'll be like, oh, cool, there's a trophy here.
Yeah.
Sweet, I'll pick it up. Instead of just going to that little area and be like, okay, there's nothing here. Why even have this little spot? And they came in more forms than just trophies. There's actually the riddles that you had to scan with the... Yeah, you have to hold the button to scan this image.
Right.
And so I kind of like that. And I kind of liked what happens after you get the 100% on it.
I thought it was interesting. I'm not an achievement type person, but because I don't really care about bonus material in the game, but I did like how they had some of the environmental puzzles like you were talking about.
Yeah.
One of the games that is just one of my favorite games to play is The Witness, which is all the entire thing is one big puzzle. So, excuse me. In that sense, I did like some of the environmental puzzles in there where you had to line up certain sites, in order to see what he was talking about with the riddle. That was pretty cool. But again, I mean, it's bonus stuff. It's fine, if you like that kind of stuff.
I like it because I'm kind of a completionist, and when people would talk hardcore gaming, I think the definition has definitely adapted more to what it's supposed to kind of mean. And but back then, people would say hardcore games, and they would mean them to be. Usually, they would mention it with Call of Duty, which is very much a casual game. But like Batman, for me, it's when the developers design things in the game to push more players who kind of go further. Like, right. I don't really want to call it advanced players, maybe just completionists and stuff like that to kind of push themselves or to scour everywhere, kind of rewarding them for looking around.
Right. I mean, that's what achievements are in the first place, right?
Yeah, it's like completing the game versus just beating it.
Right.
You know, just getting to the end. Yeah, sure, you can do that if you're just looking for the story. But if you really want to explore the world,
right,
then it gives you a little something for exploring it. Another side objective. I definitely think they went way overboard in Origins. They weren't fun to collect anymore. City was even kind of on the verge of that too. There was a lot of them, and they were more puzzle type. Like, they weren't necessarily as hard to find. They were just harder to get, and you need certain equipment to get them. So you come by one, and you'd be like, "Dang, I don't have what I need." So you leave, and they were more. I didn't like it as much.
That I wanted to go on a tangent. Really quick, because you had talked about collectathon, so that reminds me of what we wanted to talk about. Did you want to go on this tangent, or do you want to stick with this game?
I don't know if we should go too far into the tangent. I mean,
okay.
I know it's been a while since we've done one of these, but save something for next time, I guess.
Okay, and yeah, I'll save for next time. It's because there's a big discussion to be had on that tangent, which we'll talk about next time.
Maybe after I've played ukulele some. Once it gets released on Switch.
No hints. I do want to play ukulele though. Yeah. Yes, back to Arkham Asylum.
You had disappointments?
Oh, so the thugs, I felt like the big, huge, big buff mutant thugs.
The Titans.
Yeah, I felt like they watered down the experience a bit. When there's some of the, and I mean, it's been such a long time since I've played this game, but I know that there's been times where you beat up some people and you keep going forward, beat up some people, keep going forward, and you get to a point to where your objective is, and then Titan.
Yeah.
And then you go to somewhere else to get to your Titan. It's like the Titan was like, I don't want to say lazy, because this game was not lazy in any fashion, but it felt like it was designers' way of just being like, oh, they need something to beat here. Here's a Titan.
Yeah.
And
or here's a Titan with some other guys.
Right. And
yeah.
It felt like you were just going through the motions. You know what I mean?
I can agree with that. I mean, the Titans, the first one was fun.
Yeah. Yeah. They're still fun to fight.
Yeah. But the only problem with the Titans is that they're routine. You have to do the same thing to attack them. That I remember. I don't know of any other way, if there's any other attack patterns that you can do.
Yeah.
But it's an attack pattern, and it's the same one over and over.
That's what was screwing with me, was that because sometimes they were placed in these certain places, you only had to find them those certain ways. When other bad guys, might have had weapons, might have not had weapons, might have had more, 5 or 3 guys at the same time, but you could fight them different ways. And this one had to be the same way over and over.
Yeah. And that's what I enjoyed about the combat, is that the combo system, you can attack them however you want, but it has to, I mean, if you want to build up your combo, just don't stop that. But you can do whatever. You can throw a battering at them, you can punch them, you can do a grab. There's so many opportunities, so many different ways of approaching defeating a group of enemies. But when it comes to the Titan, you have to do it that one way.
Right, exactly.
And granted, you can use the Titan to help you beat up the other guys, but
I mean, some of those world, meshing things are really cool. Mm-hmm. On that note, that is Breaking Buttons. Thank you so much for joining us in this episode. Next episode, we're going to look at one of our favorite games ever on the N64, Banjo-Kazooie. So, join us then. Bye.